Um, so I just see it like in reality, like, okay, religion, my church is just that. I'm not gonna leave my church. I rather the devil I know than the devil I don't, right? So I'm gonna stay there, do what I gotta do. When they tell you to bow, you must bow. I go to Catholic church, right? So you told to bow, you're told to do this, you're told to do that. But where my spirit is like, girl, you ain't doing that, son of the cross. No one can force me. Baby, I'm just gonna stand there because I'm not led by the rules of an organization, a business. I'm led by the spirit. And one thing we know about the spirit has spontaneity in it. And that's what leads the church anyway astray. Yes, I get it. The Catholic Church is probably the most ordered church I've ever experienced, in my opinion, right? But baby, let me tell you, Nay. When you let's say you're a gym enthusiast and you have a channel, and then I jog every morning at 5 in the morning, right? And you have a stalker. That stalker can come after you. They'll find you because they're like, no, I know where she lives. She goes jogging every day at 5. It's so easy for me to trap you because you are so systematic and ordered in your living. And that's what I learned. Spirit has the spontaneity. Baby, I go anytime jogging when the spirit is like, go, you're waking up and going to jog. I'll be like, baby, but it's dark outside. And it's like, don't I protect you? Then I get my ass up and go jog. Because obviously I say that because of fear, because I'm like, ugh, I'm going to be tired during that jog. But it's always nice afterwards, right? So the system of things, I had to mourn it. I had to open a grave for it, put the church in a casket, and then sing a hymn as the coffin goes down to the ground, right? And after you've gone to a funeral, right, you mourn. There's a time elapsed period where you have to mourn because there's certain things that still come up of the grief, right? We know the 5 steps of grief: denial, anger, the depression, and the last one is what? Acceptance, right? So we do that. So for me, it was that organizational structure, and we know that it held power because of my victimhood, right? But now, because this proves I've healed my victimhood, because I'm noticing everything that led me there because of victimhood doesn't hold power to me anymore. The same way my perpetrator doesn't hold that power. Then the other third thing. So the first thing is lying to yourself, right? The reality of that. The other ones will be whatever is around you and keeping you stagnant. And my second one was organizations and the power struggle of authority and slave. And then the third one was relationships. This is in every aspect. Family, friends, lovers. If you know my friends from last year, they'll tell you. They'll be like, you'll be like, how's B? And they're like, I don't know where B is. B disappeared. And it's, guys, I hold nothing against anyone. Whether they hurt me or not, I hold nothing against you guys. Ghana, as I said, I opened the door for you to hurt me anyway, right? But other than that, yeah. To say the same to my family, and sadly they'll be like, I don't know where B is. Well, they won't say that because give out to my Emma and stuff. So they'll try to hide it, like, no, she's there. So yes, those systems, right? Those systems of family, because I was told blood is thicker than water. Ain't that a damn lie? Because I saw this video on YouTube of a guy telling us the real quote. I'll put it down below, right? And just to correct myself, but what I remember is something like, the blood of the covenant is more important than the water of the womb, or the water be between the womb, something like that. But what I understood about it when I heard it is that your covenant with divine is above everything. And this correlates with what Jesus said, that I haven't brought peace. I'm here to separate people. and mother and daughter will be fighting, right? And he proved this even further when I think he was speaking to his disciples, and then one disciple came and was like, yo, your mom and brother and sister outside. Is like, no, that's not my mom and sister. They in this place. My mom and sister is you and you and you. Imagine if Mary heard that. Imagine if Mary was black and heard that, baby. Someone would have been bitch slapped. How could you say that? I raised you for how many years? Blah, 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 you know? But what was Jesus teaching us? That in reality, the family that we grow up with may not actually be the family that we die with. You know? Be our ride or dies and stuff. Right? And because I was under the impression that blood is thicker than water, is that whatever a family member does, we should just forgive. Forget, move on. My mom likes to say, throw it under the tapete. Nah, you just sweep it under the tapete, sweep it under the carpet. Let's move on. But my mom was like, baby girl, that means that house gonna be dirty. And I'm living in a dirty house. So I'm very happy that I went through a spiritual awakening with my mom. Right, so the things and elements that we left was similar, and we did it together, holding each other's hands, and that it included the family. And for me, the family, it started with when I came out with my rape, and spoke about it, and they know my perpetrator, and it was a thing of, oh, okay, cool, and I was like, okay, let's go back to normal. While my perpetrator is there, there's no reprimand. There was no like meeting of like, yo, let's talk about it. Let's try to heal this. It was like as if what I was saying was of no importance. And that's the first door that opened, or that was the key that opened the door to me leaving and losing respect for them as my family. And there were more things that they did to me, which are not necessary at this point. But, I had to grow with that reality and accept it for what it is. That this is a fact, I will reject anything, anyone for divinity. For divine, I will do it. I rejected my own father for divinity. I rejected my own grandmother for divinity, because what they do does not align with the divine path. Therefore, it takes courage to do that. And courage is something you need when you're on God's plane, baby, because a lot of things gonna come at you. But you have to have the power, the authority to say, I know who I am. I know where I come from. And I know I ain't going to that dirty road, because I know where it leads. Hell, girl, I believe in the notion that to reach a certain height of heaven, you should go the same distance down to hell. So if you want to be Jesus, when Almighty up there, above all, that means you have to stoop the lowest of the lowest and lows. Then work yourself up the stairs to that divinity. That's why Jesus said, can you take my cup? Can you drink it? Right? And the reality of waking up is, when you've healed yourself, you've healed that inner child of you, you'll know how impossible it is to heal another, because that took everything. Every single part of yourself was executed, crucified. Every part of you bled and ultimately died. So, you get up from your awakening, because you get up, right? You wake up. And then, then you know what you deserve. And you stick to it. So take this time and think, what is it that you want from yourself? Because maybe you haven't awakened yet, but you want to.